Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Kovac Enterprises. We're working on the Cessna 150 build. So this is going to be episode number 1. I have done a few things up to this point. Before I forget, I just wanted to clear one thing up with you. Looking at the instructions here, I'll kind of bring it in a little bit. And we'll bring the light in too. Alright, looking at the parts layout diagram, as far as the fuselage, we have here a picture of the right fuselage half that depicts the molded tail on the right side, and on the left side we have the left fuselage half without the tail. Okay, on the instructions, as you can see in the molded thing here, it clearly states exactly what the instruction says as far as the parts themselves. But as we go to the next page, which would be the number 3 assembly, and we'll kind of flip this around a little bit. As you can see here, what in the first page says the right fuselage half, it's showing this page as the left fuselage half, so they kind of flipped it around, and then this is the right fuselage half without the tail. So I guess that's kind of a misprint, and it's no big deal. We'll just have to flip it around, but it's just something to note if you ever buy this particular kit. They flip-flop the fuselage part of it. So, with that being said, moving along, as you can see, we actually worked on a little bit of the instrument panel for 1/48 scale. This is very small, but it's kind of a black grayish design. I'll do a little bit of some highlighting with some silver just to kind of make it pop a little bit there. And then this is actually the size of the back seat of the cockpit itself. So that's all painted up. I just kind of chose the blue and gray, even though the instruction says black and gray, so I just kind of did it my own way as far as the color theme itself. So then again, we come across here, and once again, here's the actual cockpit itself. We installed the seats and the back seat as well as the rudder pedals and painted that all up. Same thing with the blue and gray design for the seats. And so that's kind of what it looks like right there. Not much detail work here, being such a small kind of scale there, but try to make the most of it. So that is the interior of the cockpit itself. And then we basically have the engine of the Cessna. That's all put together itself. It's all painted up accordingly. So that's what that looks like there. And that's all ready to go. And like I said, once it was painted, I did put some future on it to kind of keep the paint seal in place. Now in the instructions, when you're putting together the fairings, wheel fairings, they ask you to go ahead and put the decals on before you assemble the rest of it to the actual plane. So there you go, there's the actual wheel fairing on one of the wheels of the plane. So that is all done up. And then of course we have the next wheel, pretty much the same thing. There you go. So the decals are actually put on. It took some time to kind of line everything up on both sides, but we got it done. So that is done. And then we have our firewall with the front wheel. We'll kind of turn this around a little bit so you can see that. All painted up, and of course the wheel fairing is decaled as well for the stripes for the Cessna. So that part there is all done, And last thing I kind of painted was the engine mount and the engine accessory, as you can see right here. Let me see, a little bit more. So there you go. That is that for that. And so that's where we're at right now. Stand by. We will have more to come up in a little bit. So stand by. We'll be right back. And we're back. And I made a little bit more progress on the Cessna 150. We went ahead to step number 3 for the fuselage assembly that has the cockpit glued inside as well. We can show you that right now. And here's the results. Like I said, it's very small and tiny, but for 1/48 scale. But it came out okay. Kind of give you the top view of it, as you can see there. And yeah, this went together quite nicely. Got all the pieces together, and we went ahead and sanded down the seams on the outside as much as possible, so everything's nice and smooth. So that step is now complete. Like I said before, we'll go ahead and put the engine in later with the firewall and get all that glued in before we actually put the decal stripes along the side of the fuselage before we put the stabilizers on, because that's what they ask you to do. It'll be a lot easier that way. But that's where we are with the fuselage. And I went ahead and put the wings together as far as the left and right side, and that's how this came about. So that is all done. I didn't put the clear window parts in as of now. I'll wait a little bit later on once I get ready to glue this to the top part of the fuselage. But there's your wing. That's one side of it right there. And of course this is the top side as well. So that is where we are right now. This concludes this part of the video as far as episode 1. We will be moving along with the other steps, and once that is done, we will show you the results of that as well. So until then, I hope everybody has a good weekend despite the quarantine that we have around the country, but we're moving along with this model build. So until then, everybody, like I said, have a good weekend, and we will catch you on the next video update. So long. Bye.